Hey everybody. Part 9 of the Saturn Chronicles. I actually renamed it from the Pain Chronicles to the Saturn Chronicles. And I explained the reason in the description on my playlist. So if you want to look up the Saturn Chronicles playlist and look at the description, you can see it there. Now, two reasons why I made this video. The first one is the most important one, which is I made an accidental discovery when I was trying to get up from my bed today. The crutches right here were next to my bed, but they were kind of standing up. And as I was moving towards the left, I hit my head on one of the crutches on this part of my head. And that made the lumbar part of my back hurt. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here? So I looked it up. And as it turns out, the part of the brain that actually is responsible for walking and talking and responsible for lumbar function, as far as I know, is called the cerebellum. So where I hit the part of my brain is where the cerebellum is. And now that I think about it, the electronic torturers have been hitting that part of my brain for a good while now. They've also been hitting the bottom part of my brain, which affects blood flow and heart rhythm. The very deepest parts, like the base of my brain, is where the medulla is. And the medulla controls heart rate, it controls oxygen flow, all the rest of it, right? So I realized that I knew something wasn't right on Wednesday. When I was screaming in pain like that, I knew something wasn't right. I knew that it couldn't be just sciatica, because I've had sciatica before. I had sciatica years ago when I was living in London, and I was able to walk fine with the sciatica. All I had to do, it was just bending down. It was just a lot of bending down. I didn't even have to take that many painkillers. It was just a lot of bending down and walking forward. But with this now, I'm screaming in pain. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. So the reason I've been screaming in pain and the reason why I've been getting all kinds of pains here is because parts of my brain were being attacked. I'll give you an example, right? So I've already talked about the cerebellum. That's at these parts of the brain right here at the sides, okay? Those parts of the brain control your motor function. And in this case, this part of the brain, somehow it controlled like the right side of my spine, or like almost at the center. So attacking at these parts of my brain was important because they were affecting my ability to walk. Okay. As for my throat, the throat is controlled. If any neurologists want to chime in the comments and correct me, they can correct me. But from what I've researched, the throat area is down to attacking somewhere called the Broca's area, and where that is at the left hemisphere of the frontal lobe. You see, my speech is affected already, right? So it's at the frontal lobe of the left hemisphere, and it's called the Broca's area. That's the area that has been affecting my throat in terms of acoustic weaponry. When it comes to tooth loss, I haven't done like a lot of research into the tooth loss thing, but one of the reasons that people have had their teeth dropping out of their mouth is because the white matter of their brains have been attacked as well. The white matter is found in the subcortical part of the brain, which is like the deeper tissues of the brain, and there's a sheath covering that which is called myelin, and the myelin actually gives it its white color. So attacking that, it actually facilitates in tooth loss, and it actually facilitates in causing Parkinson's disease as well. Well, that's attack on certain grey matter and elevation of certain grey matter that causes Parkinson's. So there's also the pons, which can be attacked as well. I forget where the pons is. I think it's in the middle between the medulla and the midbrain, which is all the way like back here, like it's all the way at the brainstem. So the pons is in the middle between the medulla, which is at the very bottom, and the midbrain, which is above the pons. And what the pons is responsible for is REM sleep. Okay, so when your REM is attacked, you know, when it's overly active, when it's attacked like that, it can cause REM sleep. That's what triggers your dreams. And that's what triggers the ability to, you know, for people to access your dreams and do whatever they need to do with it. You know, it's actually quite amazing. And as for paranoid schizophrenia, that can be easily synthesized too. In fact, that's one of the most easily synthesized illnesses that there are, because all that's needed in order to increase schizophrenia in the brain is to increase dopamine, and I think increase serotonin. And let me see if it's written down here. It's increasing dopamine and I think increasing serotonin as well, and that can easily be done by messing with your pleasure pain responses. So if you're continuously abused and your adrenaline is constantly up, your dopamine is up as well, constant stress, and then your serotonin is brought in by little bouts of relief, little breaks in the abuse, little, you know, all that type of stuff. That's where the serotonin comes in, because the serotonin is one of the happy chemicals, isn't it? It's one of the chemicals that hang on a second, I think it's serotonin. It could be endorphins, but I think it's serotonin. It's an imbalance that causes schizophrenia. So it's like 1 minute you have all this dopamine running around, and then the next minute you have a flood of serotonin from that one interval, from that one break in the abuse, or that one break in the action where things seem to calm down. So schizophrenia can be easily manufactured just by that alone. And then on top of that, when the CR1, I think it's called the central receptor, the first central receptor is attacked, it's called CR1. When that is malfunctioning, that can also cause schizophrenia. That part of the brain can also be attacked. And also, one of the areas that I really want to talk about is the hypothalamus, because I said that I was attacked in my third eye. That was one of the emails that I wrote to the relocation agent. I said that my third eye was being attacked, right? Where the hypothalamus is just below the thalamus and above the pituitary gland where the third eye is. So it's like round about here. So here, being attacked here would kind of facilitate schizophrenic symptoms. So all of these illnesses that we're diagnosed with, all, you know, the tooth pain, everything to do with the tooth pain, everything to do with me being in agony over my back, these things aren't fucking natural. You're not, you know, you have tooth pain and you have, you know, the only time when you're supposed to be in agony like that when it comes to your tooth is when you actually have abscess. When I had that tooth pain, I did not have abscess. I did not have one lick of infection. Okay? Because it was 3 days of absolute agony, and then like that, it just disappeared. It doesn't do that. Okay? That was an attack on a specific part of my brain to do with the teeth and gums. And let's see if I've written that down, because I think I have. It's the same area of the brain that controls the throat. So let's go now. Yeah, it's the same area of the throat, the Broca's area. What controls your face, which controls your facial expressions, controls your throat, controls your teeth and gums, all that shit. So that area being attacked can also cause this. It can also trigger this. Remember when I said on one of the videos, I said to one of the people that was doing my mental health assessment that whenever I got satellite interference or wherever satellite receptors were being fired on my head, I would put my hand above my head like this, and I would feel waves of either acoustic energy or directed energy coming through this part of my head. That's the cerebral cortex, by the way. Now I'm going to see what the cerebral cortex affects. Oh, I haven't written it down. Yeah, so that right there, I'm going to put in the comments what the cerebral cortex affects. But it's round about this area of the brain where the cerebral cortex is where you feel the radiation coming from. So all of these remote electronic weaponry, this is just a theory. This is just an assessment. This is not, don't take my word for this. But what I'm thinking is that the reason why we're having all these ailments with our bodies is because of the attack on our central nervous system. Now let's talk about pain as well. Right? Hold on, let me see. I've written it down. Okay, all right. Now pain, it carries to, yeah, this is why it was necessary, because pain, it carries to the thalamus. Remember where the thalamus is, right? You've got the above the pituitary gland and below the thalamus. So the thalamus is, I don't know, it would be about like here, maybe towards the back of the brain, the thalamus would be. So pain, it carries to the thalamus and the cerebral cortex. And when people get attacked, they get attacked through the cerebral cortex first. That's when we get the message that we're actually in pain. We get the message that we're in pain through our cerebral cortex. And yet when the satellites come in, and when that acoustic energy comes in, or where that directed energy weaponry comes in, it comes in through that first. So that's the first thing that we feel when we're being attacked. It comes in through our cerebral cortex. Or at least I think that's where this is. Because it's like at the back here. It's at the back somewhere here. I think that's where the cerebral cortex is. I could be wrong, but it's one of the primary functions anyway. So I used to think that you needed chips in order to physically attack someone or physically torture someone. You don't need chips. You just need their general location and a heat-seeking sensor. And that is enough for you to get enough of a reading on them to attack multiple organs in their body through their brain. But this is where it gets fuzzy for me. There are several people who have suffered from cancer, suffered from all kinds of cancer on the body. I think that's not actually down to the weapon itself. I think that's down to the radiation from the weaponry being bombarded on us daily. I think that's where the cancer comes from. As for the strokes, you can see if you attack the right parts of the body, you don't even need to cause strokes in order to stop somebody from walking. You can just attack the fucking cerebellum, and you can stop them from walking properly. You don't need a stroke for that. You don't need a stroke for that. But if you wanted to cause a stroke, hey, medulla, it controls the heart function, it controls breathing. So what people don't realize about strokes is that stroke is not about the brain, it's about the heart, it's about cardiac function. Once you fuck with cardiac function, you fuck with the ability for the heart to make the brain work properly. It's all about the heart. When it comes to the stroke, it's all about the heart. That's what nobody tells you. Okay? So if you want to cause a stroke, medulla, right there. They've been firing on that too. They've been firing on that too. But that's when it comes to the acoustic weaponry. When it comes to the directed energy weaponry, I think it's more direct than that. I think they directly fire it on our skin, and through parts of our bodies. Like, if acoustic weaponry works from the inside out, I think directed energy weaponry works from the outside in. And I think all the cancer that we get is, again, based on the radiation from this weaponry. And now we've got 5G facilitating that shit. Listen, man, it's about to be a whole mess. It's about to be a whole mess, right? All this radiation flying around and some of it weaponized. It's about to be a whole mess out here. It's about to be a whole mess of people mentally ill, walking around, can't walk for shit, crippled and shit. About to be a whole mess of people like that. There's a passage from the Bible that talks about the the golden crown and the silver cord, and it talks about death. And it says when somebody dies, they lose the golden crown and the silver cord gets cut off. The silver cord is your spinal column. It's where your central nervous system is. The golden crown is the brain. That's where your central nervous system is. As you get older, you lose certain receptors of your brain, and that's what causes you to walk slower. It causes you to have specific functions shutting down and shit. It fucks with your central nervous system, deteriorates over time. That's what causes a lot of our issues as we age. It's all about that. It has always been about our central nervous system. That's exactly why it's so dangerous to take so many pills. I regret so much taking so many overdoses, especially of painkillers, because I'll tell you why, right? Painkillers, they don't actually kill the pain, they just stop you getting the message. If you've hurt a part of yourself, and that part, if you've hurt a part of your body, and the body says ow to the thalamus, and the thalamus says, hey, cerebral cortex, yeah, you got pain coming in. It shuts off that part of the brain that receives the message. It just stops communication. It doesn't actually stop the pain. The pain, it cuts off, I have to repeat that again because the video lagged. Painkillers don't actually stop the pain, it just stops the communication. The reason why I can function on painkillers as opposed to not on painkillers is because it just stops us getting the message. It's just like antipsychotic medication. Allopathic medicine, as a rule, is supposed to be taken short term. It's not supposed to be taken willy-nilly on long term. For the simple reason being that it's about taking the symptoms that you already have and moving those symptoms in the opposite direction. And that's why so much is made out of healthy eating, exercise, eat your greens, drink your water. Boring as that sounds, and I fucking hate it, it's necessary because it mitigates the effects of not only the illness itself, but it also mitigates the effects of the allopathic medicine that gives you opposite symptoms rather than curing the actual illness. So yeah, that's why I've been in agony this entire time. It's because certain parts of my brain were being attacked, and I'm going to look up parts of the brain that actually affect the womb as well, because that added to it. That actually added to it. So I'm going to look up those as well, and I'm going to put them in the comments on my YouTube page and in my Instagram page. Because this shit is important. People, you know what the answer is. Protect your brain and protect your nervous system. I know that I have a lot of work to do myself. My diet is so crap. But if you can start anywhere, start with nutritional supplements first and then work your way down if you're that way inclined. Because, even healthy food ain't worth the nutritional value of healthy food ain't worth the shit anyway. You might as well take nutritional supplements with it. And the healthy food on top. Protect your brain, protect your central nervous system, protect your heart, because those are the most important things you can protect, because that's where they're attacking us from. That's where we're being attacked from. Our brains. Mental illnesses, physical illnesses, all of that can be synthesized through our central nervous system. These alchemical fraternities at the top, they have always been about the central nervous system, the golden crown and the silver cord. Whew. What a way to bring in 11 months into Brighton and Hove, huh? God, what a shit show. What an absolute shit show. I have been through so much since I've been here. Don't get me wrong, I'm happier being here than I am in London. There are certain things that have changed my life for the better. Sorry, there are certain things that have changed in my life for the better since I've been in Brighton. Like, my health has improved. I'm not going to lie to you. My mental health especially, because I'm near nature all the time. So things are very different. And, you know, since I've been here, I've been eating healthier. Not massively healthy, but I've been eating healthier. Been eating less crap. You know, I have friends over here. Not many, but I have friends. And, you know, things are moving along in my, like, love life as well. Like, I've got a partner who fights against you know, he fights psychiatry because he's one of the victims of psychiatric abuse. And before I knew any of this, he was the first person that told me about the effects of allopathic medicine and how it affects the brain and how it affects your body as well. Like, he was the first person to tell me, he was the first person to tell me about all of these things. So I keep celebrating when I came to Brighton and Hove. It's not because I'm actually celebrating Brighton and Hove. I do love it here, don't get me wrong, but it's more to do with the fact that that's when I really started having a proper relationship with myself, when I left London. When I made a huge decision and left to come here, that's when I started having a proper relationship with me. And I feel that's why I always celebrate it. It's not because it's Brighton and Hove, it's because it's me. It's me. It's Fabi. It's, you know, I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. I came to a queer friendly city and made friends here, and, you know, even rediscovered a part of myself that I thought was lost, the side of the hopeless, infatuated, crazy person. I missed her. I really did. I really fucking did. But yeah. Yeah, so it's 11 months. It's going to be a year next month. So, been through racial harassment, sexual harassment, every type of harassment you can think of, on top of the torture that I've had to go through. But you know what? I feel proud of myself because I did things for myself. You know, I missed the toilet 3 times yesterday, which is humiliating, but I'm proud of myself because I've done everything for myself, you know, including this thing with my back. Figured it out all myself. The crutch is my idea. I've been doing my own physio in my own way, you know, and it made me think that maybe I want to study physio next and, you know, study, what I call it there, psychotherapy as well, because any type of therapy I love. And even I'm one of those people where even if I'm healthy, I probably would take it anyway. Like, even if I didn't need it, just for the sake of it. Because I love the feeling of being held and, you know, and comforted and nurtured and all that type of stuff. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's the video. If it was boring, I apologise. But what am I going to do? I'm going to put the part of the brain that involves the womb, and then I'm going to watch this video back and see what else I can include. But anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Look after your golden crowns and your silver threads, your silver cords. Look after your golden crowns and your silver cords. Okay? I love you guys. Take care. Bye. Oh, by the way, sun, moon. Take care. Bye.